Thank you so much, and thank you for coming up to Ellington, being a little closer to us. The last time I came to speak, I think we were down in Flint, so it was a little bit of a drive. But I'm here today, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm Mayor Dan Champagne in the town of Vernon. And one of my main concerns tonight is the increase to the fire protection fee. And that's one of my concerns. I am here to speak in strong opposition to the proposed increase. Now, in an earnings call this past Monday with Wall Street analyst, the CEO of Connecticut Water's parent company said constructive regulatory outcomes across our local operations are part of the company's strategy to increase revenue and profits. And I understand that, but we need to know that this means rate increases forced on residential businesses and municipal water customers. Connecticut Water is seeking a whopping 18% rate increase for its customers. Yet, we just heard that there was a 13% inflation increase over the last 3 years. This year I received a letter from the water company as part of a settlement with the town of Vernon, because we were dealing with this for a while. And it said there was a 10% increase in public fire protection charges for the upcoming fiscal year, with the bulk of the increase to be in the first half of 2024. Right, that's 10% increase. The 13%, they said they're 13% behind. It doesn't include the two increases the 2 previous years. Before I go on with this, I'm going to explain something that with this fire protection. When I became mayor 10 years ago, I got this bill for $700,000. And I looked at this and I said, what the heck is this? So I started asking questions. I wanted to know what it was and what I'm paying for. And all I got was this 2 lines that basically said that I'm paying for fire hydrants and linear feet of water lines. And I said, well, what the heck is this? So I made some phone calls to the water company. Please come down and explain. They came down. In fact, they answered my questions because I have nothing negative to say about the employees of the water company. They're all great to work with. It's just this increase I got a problem with. And specifically, the fire protection. That's what I deal with as mayor. But I also am trying to watch out for my, my fixed income people and those that can't afford this rate increase. So, when I finally got to the end of this, I realized that we were paying for fire hydrants that didn't work. We were paying for fire hydrants that didn't exist anymore. In fact, one of them was gone since the 1960s, and I was paying for fire hydrants on private property, including linear feet. So we finally worked that out with the water company with settlements, and now I get an itemized bill every year, which basically specifically states we're paying for this fire hydrant on Maple Street at this intersection. Okay, perfect. Now I have what I want. But with the increases, this fire protection fee, which right now that fee, just to give you the idea of what we pay, that fee is from when I started it was $700,000. And currently, in this last year, it was, I forgot my glasses, I humbly apologize. It's gonna be $844,000 this year. That's just for the fire protection. That's the fire hydrants and linear feet. And my next question was, well, why am I paying for every single pipe in my town? Because if there's a dead end and there's not a fire hydrant at the end, why do I pay for those linear feet? Why am I paying for linear feet that are 4 inches or less? Because I can't put out a fire with a pipe that's 4 inches or less. In fact, you're not even supposed to have a fire hydrant on that. Yet I'm paying for these 4 inch and less pipes all over my town. I'm paying for a piece that pops in it, pumps from Ellington, pops into Vernon, and then pops back into Ellington. No fire hydrant on it. But if you want me to pay for it, put a fire hydrant at the end. Let's protect people's lives, because that would be helpful. So that started my whole journey on this. So I've educated myself quite well with this fire protection, and I still have a problem with it. And the other part of that is I also pay a separate fee for every building that has a sprinkler system in it. In fact, I think it's, before any increases, I'm paying on average over $450. There's a couple here that there's an $800 one in here too. I'm paying the fire protection fee for the whole town, and then because I put a sprinkler system in my building, I gotta pay for that too. And I say me, but I'm talking about the 30,000 people I have living in my town, like my tax base. who then are gonna get an 18 or may get an 18.1% on their home. So they're gonna get nailed tax-wise, and now they're gonna get nailed the other way. So these are some of my concerns, and the other part that started popping up all over the town, when I first started, where the fire hydrants weren't painted. And my fire department would show up, put out a fire, hook up, and it wouldn't work. We finally solved that. But what we did find is during the testing process, they don't open the valve all the way. You gotta open the valve all the way and get a good testing. And my fire chief is gonna talk more about that. In fact, we opened one all the way and blew out a whole road. So these are the type of tests that we required. But I think if you're gonna pay fire protection fee, that should be standard across Connecticut. These should be the standards for it. So let's get back into what I'm talking about. So we've already seen these dramatic increases of revenue. From 2021 to 2022, the company's net income increased 29%. And that's the net. 29.6 million from 23 million. And now they want to increase overall another 21 million. When I include water, the sprinkler, and I include the linear feet and the fire hydrants, that's 1% of my $100 million budget. It's 1%. It's over $1 million that we pay in the town of Vernon for water that I have to tax my citizens for. Annually, let's see if that already did that. Connecticut Water is asking for a 13.6% increase in fire hydrant charges and 8% more for the pipes. 13.6% in the fire hydrant charges is outrageous. These fire hydrants are put in place, we pay a fee, there's no changes that are gonna happen to it, it's not the water coming out of it, and to have to pay 13.6% increase is ridiculous. And the 8% more for the pipes. All right, 8% more for pipes I can't use. Those are the ones under the 4 inch, actually it's actually under 6 inches, so it'd be 5 or less. I can't use these, the ones on dead ends, the ones popping in and out of my town. And I can go on and on about that. But I think I already covered that. Obviously, the increased requested increase will have a direct impact on taxpayers in the town. And I say the town, but all the towns involved with the Connecticut Water Company. We're gonna have to pass this on to our residents. It doesn't end there. Our residents, business owners also face the increase in their bills. There's a double whammy, a giant increase in their water bills and a potential increase in their tax bills. If you take what the president last year of the water company made, it's $880,000 paying benefits. So the town of Vernon, pretty much with just my fire hydrants and my linear feet, paid for the salary and benefit and bonus, I should say. That's pretty steep. Part of the justification for the rate increase request is the capital spending. In Vernon, Connecticut Water had canceled water main and fire hydrant replacement projects on 4 roads, including Franklin Street near several of our elderly housing complexes. We talk about the health and safety of our residents is number one. It's my number one, and it should be the water company's number one. If we need to be taken care of, that should have been done. Obviously, I know things get in the way. It's funny because I put something out on Facebook about this tonight, and I got 2 comments back from people, and I'm going to hit on those for a second. The first one was for the cost that they currently give us, they can't get rid of the black stuff. The black stuff in the water. When the old water company was there, we never had this black material coming out of our faucets. Since they put the new one online, we do. It was tested by a doctor in town, and it said it was excessive manganese. And just to give you an example of what the complaints are from people, this manganese, or whatever this black substance is, if you don't wash your faucet every single day, this black stuff hangs off the bottom of your faucets. When you unscrew the cap, you can literally dump this black stuff out. This isn't just in my home, it's in the town buildings. You get black streaks in your toilet. It's pretty nasty. Your water filter on your refrigerator is one of the big complaints I hear too. It's supposed to be a 6-month. Ever since they switched the company, you're switching that water filter 2 to 3 months, every 2 to 3 months. I got a complaint today that somebody was having that same problem, and their entire ice had to be, the ice machine on their refrigerator had to be replaced. Somebody else said that that's a lot of money for terrible service and poor quality water. They also commented on the black stuff. In the quality of the water, that's specifically what I'm talking about, this black material coming out. And they had problems because they were making phone calls and weren't getting a response, which I've never had personally. You guys have always been responsive. But the manganese, when you look it up in large amounts, it can be harmful to humans. You know, like I said, this doctor who has a filter system on his house had to change his filter system every single day. Actually, it was his business. But he had to change that filter. He had pictures of it. It was bad. And any homeowner that has a question when you're replacing your filter, cut your filter open and take a look. It's pretty nasty stuff. You know, the 18.1%, if that is passed, you know, it was said right off the bat, everything's more expensive, and we understand that. But right now, some people can't afford to worry about how am I gonna pay for my heat? You know, the cost of it, you know, how am I paying for my food? If you walk into a gas station, there's somebody bringing in a jar of change to pay for their gas. I mean, you gotta ask yourself what's going on. The state of Connecticut just released that 42% of the people can't afford to live in our own state. And I know that number's higher because when I was a state senator, you know, they were talking the number was in the 60s, but somehow they're excluding a certain percentage of our population. So, when you guys sit down and you take a look at this increase, I want you to realize and take into account, you said 13%. And you gotta look at the amount of the increase over that same 3 years. 10% 10% just this fiscal year. You know, that takes almost the whole 13. And when you do the numbers backwards, I think you're gonna see those numbers are covered. And it's nowhere near the 18.1% that they're asking for. I could go on and on. I could start talking about, you know, one of these sprinkler system costs, which I think is just a double charge. I pay a lot of money for my fire protection, and now I have to pay another fee for the sprinkler systems. And those are costing, everyone into what they cost me. $1 million a year, 1% of my budget. And we can't keep affording this. We can't keep affording going up hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when you take this into account, realize that, you know, those fire protection fees is a second fee on our taxpayers. And you know, I had to fight really hard just to get the services for that fire protection fee that I should have been getting right along. But if you drive down the road and you look out and you see a rusty fire hydrant, that community hasn't fought for it yet. You know, I finally got them painted, finally got them taken care of, and I'm hoping that my fire department, and this has happened sometimes, don't pull up, hook up, and there's no pressure whatsoever. I actually have pictures of a house fire on Talkett Avenue where there was absolutely no pressure. One of our firemen got hurt. So keep that in mind, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much, Mayor, for those comments. Is it your fire chief who signed up next?